Greetings YouTube, I'm TFL Wilderness, welcome to my channel and welcome to the second of this month's Korean toy reviews. Yeah, I decided to buy 2 Korean toys this month. I know I said in earlier videos that I would be restricting myself to 1 per month, but I don't know, I'm really struggling to buy official figures at the moment, and I've got a bit of money left over, so I thought I'd just go back to buying 2 bots, 2 Korean toys. So anyway, I've got a figure to show you here. It's a figure from the Tobot V Season 2 line, and he's one I was looking forward to getting, and I finally got one. And his name is Tobot V Season 2 Captain Jack, and I've got him here in his alt mode. But before we get into that, let's have a quick look at the packaging. So here's the box. It's a typical Tobot box, large cardboard thing. It's got like a bubble inside with the the foil backing, big window, lots of art on the sides, on the back. It's got all the product information on the bottom, and Tobot logo on the top. So yeah, typical box for the Tobot series or young toys, and he comes with instructions which show you how to transform him in both directions, both to and from alt mode. And as he's one of these Tobot Season 2 figures, he's got what they call this extension mode, where when the character has the the activator watch, he activates a card or something. It activates the toe key, and then it hits the figure, and then they get power ups. All these extra bits like pop out of their robot mode, and they get powered up, and it allows them to take on the bad guys and take them out. But anyway, so let's get started with his alt mode, and I love this alt mode. I mean, look at this thing. It's a big old supercar, sort of like a hypercar, like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. But I like to think this thing looks a lot like some of the newer products from that Swedish supercar company, Koenigsegg. I think it's got a lot of the styling cues of sort of like newer model Koenigsegg cars. I mean, it's got like the big black swept around, sort of low windscreen, big chiseled shark nose, angry sort of like little LED lights, lots of sort of aerodynamic sort of stylings down the side. It's got a big sort of strip light at the back, and it's got twin exhausts, massive great wheels, aerodynamic bits all over it. It's an awesome looking alt mode. I really love the look of this car. I mean, it's actually got like a little Tobot V logo there on the side, and on the back it's got a little golden anchor symbol, which we'll see more in yet later. Love the alt mode, lovely heavy thing. It large pinned wheels, so it rolls extremely well, and it just looks fantastic. I absolutely love the alt mode on this, and it was one of the reasons why I wanted to get this, because I love the look of the alt mode. I love the look of this car. It's really cool looking car, and yeah, absolutely love it. I mean, obviously it's got lots of robot stuff stuffed underneath, but you don't want to look under there. But yeah, it's a really cool looking car. Now, obviously, it's a transforming toy, so let's get into the robot mode, shall we? So start off with, you've got the toe key, which is in a port on the back here. So you just want to pull that out. It does peg in there quite handily. Oh, there we go. So we'll put that to one side for later, and then we'll start with transforming this guy. So start off with the arms. You unpeg the arms and pull them down. Then you can unclip the windscreen section, and then bring the legs down. Obviously, you've got these shoulder pieces that come out on these double hinges, like so. Then you go down to the legs. You've got these pieces you spin around on the side, separate the legs. Then you've got the feet. You've got the heel spur and the toe thing, heel spur, toe, and that's the legs done. Then you fold the cockpit section back. Make sure to fold that under. Then you get this black tab on the top. Fold around his head, clip it into place, and then fold that bit in like that. And there we have Captain Jack in his basic robot mode. I mean, he's got two robot modes. He's got like the sort of the basic mode, and then he's got like the extension powered up mode, which I'll show you in a moment. So the styling on this thing is, I love the look of the robot mode as well. I mean, in the show he's called Captain Jack, and obviously he's a pirate, and there's a lot of pirate theming going on in his robot mode, mostly in his extension mode. But you know, he's, don't know, let's try and get the autofocus. I mean, he's got like an eye patch, and he's got like a, you know, like a captain's, you know, kind of hat. So he's got that going on. Obviously, you've got the little anchor symbol on his shoulder there, which was on the back of the car. And he's got like shark teeth around here, so the shark theming's going on. I mean, them aerodynamic fins on the car motor sticking off his arms as, like, you know, sort of like interesting bits. And yeah, he's got a lot of cool detail going on. He looks really, really awesome. I like the look of his robot mode. It's nice and colourful. He's got some nice moulded detail down here on the legs. The car kibble, you know, it's sides of the car are basically his shoulders, the arms, and the sides of the legs. They'll sit quite nicely on his robot mode. You know, he hasn't got any unsightly kibble as such. It all tucks away quite nicely. The roof of the car just forms a nice little backpack. And yeah, he's a cool looking bot in robot mode. Now let's go on to the extension mode. And so you get your tow key, which is this little thing, which is like a shark snout. And then there's a peg on the front. I mean, you've got this obvious peg in these normal sort of robot mode, sort of H peg sticking out there. But you get the shark bit. You plug it on, and then things happen. Like that pops down, and then these little things on his shoulders pop up. Now, when you move down to his legs, you can pull these sort of knee spurs out. You spin, oh no, you don't spin those around. You pull these side pods out on the legs, like so. You then take his left hand, fold it round, and fold out his hook hand. And then finally, he's got a little spike that pops up on his top of his head. A little spike crest. And there he is in his extension mode, and he looks a lot better in this mode, I think, because it fills out his chest with the tow key on his chest, and then like the little shark motif on his chest. That looks really good. He's got these extra sort of weapons things, I don't know what you call them, these little spikes on his shoulders, which is pretty cool. He's got the knee spikes which come out, and these extra sort of vents or things that stick out the side of these pods on the side of his legs. I can't remember. I used to watch some of the episodes of the show, but I haven't watched it religiously. I can't remember an awful lot about it, but I'm pretty sure because he's a water-based Tobot, he can shoot, you know, jets of water out of his the vents on his legs. And obviously, you know, he be a pirate, he's got a hook hand. So yeah, love the aesthetic on this robot mode, especially in the extension mode. Car mode looks amazing, robot mode looks amazing. The pirate theming, forget about it. It's awesome. I love it. So there we go. That's said some really nice things about this figure. Unfortunately, we now have to move on to the articulation, and yeah, things take a turn for the worst. This figure is very much a mixed bag. It looks amazing, but when you come to pose it or play with it, it falls down flat, because the engineering on this figure really lets it down on the articulation side. And I will admit that there's certain facets of the articulation on this thing. It's like a deal breaker for me. In my opinion, it's tainted my opinion of this figure a hell of a lot. It's so bad that I can't see past the flaws of the articulation to really like this bot for what it is. I know that sounds stupid, but it is genuine. But let me show you what I'm on about. Let's get into the articulation, right? So, starting at the top, his head is fixed. He's got a fixed head. Right, so there's your first thing. Now, I'm not too bothered about the fixed head. It's quite common on Tobot figures especially. I've got a lot of Tobot figures in my collection that have got, you know, frozen head joints. It's a normal thing. I mean, sometimes I'll have a rotation there, but more often than not, it's a fixed head. I did actually take the head off to see how it was attached. There's a screw in the back. The head sort of splits in half, and there's like a T-shaped peg on this this black panel that folds round, that the head clasps around when you screw it together. It might be possible to engineer a head rotation for this guy if you chopped off the T peg and then sort of made a sort of like a screw or some washers and screws going through this black plastic plate into the head. You might be able to get a head rotation. So you could modify this guy to give him a head rotation quite easily. But that isn't the main reason why I really dislike the engineering on this figure. And it's the shoulders, because the shoulders are fixed. And that for me is like an own goal. It's like a fly in the ointment. It just ruins the whole thing for me. I mean, the arms, right? The arms fold back as part of the transformation, but they can't go forwards. They only fold down. And then when you get to the elbows, the elbow doesn't quite go to 90 degrees. It's got, you know, a nice ratchet action on it, but it doesn't quite go to 90 degrees. And then the arm, it goes back, but it doesn't go forwards. Now, when you look at the engineering inside this shoulder, you can see you've got, on the outside, you've got the wheel, and you've got, it's pegged in there. Now, that pivot point goes all the way through, and you can see there's a metal pin there, right here. And that pin is in alignment with this pin, and they go through. Look underneath, you can see it goes through this red. The red piece is the shoulder, and the white piece is the arm, and it's ratcheted there. But the outer wheel piece is fixed, and when you look inside, you know, you can see that there's clearance in here for that to rock backwards and forwards. And I reckon they could have made it so that the blue piece rotated around, you know, the joint for the arm. They could have done it. It's pegged in from both sides, and the red, this double hinge here for the shoulder is quite wide, but there is clearance for it to rotate inside the shoulder. And I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they just you know, did it, you know, like that. I don't know. To me, that's, they could have, with a little bit of effort, they could easily have made the shoulder articulate. They could have made it rotate backwards and forwards, and then you would have had, you know, decent, you know, sort of shoulder articulation. As it happens, the arm can just go in and out that far, and then the arm can fold backwards because of the transformation joint, but it can't actually go forwards. I mean, that's as far forward as he can get his arm, like that, on the elbow, which doesn't quite go to 90 degrees. So arm articulation, very, very disappointing. Now when we move down, nothing at the waist, obviously, because it's a Tobot, it's a Young Toys figure. Now the hips, you know, you can get a full splits out of him because he's got ratchet hips, and it'll go forwards and it will go back. Obviously the thing gets in the way. But yeah, they're decently articulated. But then you get to the legs, and now he's got the same issue that Leo Kaiser had with his legs. He's got very short thighs, massive shins, and what this means is, you know, when you're doing the articulation on the legs, you can't get 90 degree on the knees, and even if you do, you know, his knee joint is almost up in his hips because his thighs are so short. And yeah, so it does restrict his leg motion somewhat. Now, when I do my thumbnail pictures for the videos, I like to try and put the figure in a semi, dynamic pose for the photograph of the robot mode. But this guy, I just couldn't get him into a decent looking pose, which is why I've got him like stood bolt upright in the thumbnail photo. So yeah, I just can't believe that they did a bonehead maneuver like that. You know, they with fixed shoulders. They could quite easily have given him working shoulders, but they chose not to. Instead, they just... Transformational engineering was more important than, you know, sort of like posing engineering. I mean, if you're doing a, you know, like a bipedal figurine, it needs a minimum of like 4 points of articulation. It needs, you know, shoulder, elbow, hips and knees, and possibly a head rotation if you're lucky. And with those 4 joints, you know, you can get a basic amount of posing going on. But that's the bare minimum I think a figure like this should have. I mean, intermediate joints like bicep swivels, thigh swivels, ankle tilts, waist joints, you know, wrist swivels, that sort of thing, they're like Brucey bonuses, they're extras. But you know, I wouldn't expect them to have, or this figure to have, anything like that, because, you know, Young Toys, they don't really bother with intermediate articulation. Hello Carbots, what they called Sonocon and Choi Rock, you know, they do stuff like that. But we've got the new Tobot V Season 3 figures have just come out, and some of them look to be a little bit more articulated than this guy, which is saying something. Before we go any further, let's do a quick size comparison. Now, another thing, you can see he's slightly shorter than a leader class figure. That's because they're downscaling. I know that the Tobot V Season 3 figures are shorter again, but they have more, you know, transformational engineering going on with them, so that, you know, they'll probably be a better figure. I am looking to get hold of those in the next couple of months, but next month I've got something else on the cards I need to get. So yeah, so there we go. Like I said, mixed bag review. This figure, I'm sort of very much torn between, do I like it, do I hate it, you know. It's a shame that the whole figure can be ruined with something as basic as, you know, no shoulder articulation. You know, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. He looks amazing, he looks great, and, you know, he's got a decent, you know, fun, simple transformation. You know, the styling's great. The pirate theming is I love that as well. You know, he's got a hook hand, you know, but it's just the whole thing gets dragged down with those frozen shoulder joints, and it's difficult. It's just difficult for me to quantify liking this thing when you got all this going on. So I'm afraid that's my review of this figure, warts and all. Yeah, it looks great. The alt mode's amazing. The robot mode's fantastic. It's got the pirate theming, but when you come to articulation, the articulation's dog shit. You know, it's awful. Yeah, so that has been my review of Tobot V Season 2 Captain Jack, for what it's worth. So yeah, hopefully you've found this video insightful and interesting, and you've learned a few things about the figure in question, but that should be it for now. I have actually bought a third KTRT this month. Whether I'll review it this month, I don't know. I might do, but it's part of a combining figure that now that I've got the first part of it coming in, I might as well go and get the other couple of bits. So with that said, I've been TFL Wilderness. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da!